Welcome to the Everyday is New Day show and coaching channel here on YouTube. My name is Kim O'Neill. I'm a transformational confidence coach, helping you to feel more confident in both interviews as well as your everyday life. And if that's something that's speaking to you, I definitely encourage you to check out KimO'NeillCoaching.com. That's KIMONEILL coaching.com and explore the many ways that I can support you. And so here we are today. Today is now week 7 of my Self-Love Looks Like 11-week series. And let me know if you've been following along with these and really taking in each one and seeing how it applies to your life. Let me know, what you're taking away and what this is bringing up for you, what clarity is showing up for you, and how it's really supporting you to get to that space where you can honestly and deeply love yourself on a much deeper level than you may have before in the past. Because my mission is to really support you into feeling as whole as possible from the inside out. And self-love can look like a myriad of things. And the 11 that I'm sharing in this series with you are really the ones that I have found to be not only very, meaningful for me, but also quite universal. So the things that I'm sharing here are not the first time that they've been said. And yet there are other ways that people define self-love. So it's really about you getting clear on what does self-love look like and mean for you. And so from these conversations, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And again, this is really a starter conversation. Every time I say these videos aren't going to be that long, and they end up being way longer than I expect. And even with that said, there's so much more that can always be said. Okay. So that's why I really want you to feel empowered to allow this conversation to be a starting place for you to go, oh, yeah, that means something to me, that I resonate with that, and, take it further. Okay. So let me pull up my notes just so I have my own little guideline here of what I want to share with you today. And feel free to comment below. Let me know what questions you have, what you're taking away, how this how today's conversation has played a role in your life, or how you'd maybe like to allow it to enhance things, what's coming up for you, that kind of thing. So anyway, I think I said all the first things. Yeah, and actually let's just also preface with the reason why we're doing this is because self-love may sound like this thing that sounds so good, and it may sound, maybe even a little foo-foo for you. I don't know where you are on, and your personal development journey and things like that. But here's the thing. I found it's very foundational to being able to tap into that place of a deep inner sense of confidence within you, knowing who you are, stepping into your ability to move forward in life that in ways that are meaningful for you. But if you don't know what self-love looks like for you, how can you expect yourself to really be able to implement mindsets and practices that are going to support you in being able to, move forward as powerfully as you would like to? So that's why this is just so important, so key. So I am going to go ahead and do a recap. Let's do a recap. Okay. So here we're on week 7. Let's just do a quick recap of the previous weeks. So week 1 was accepting all of who you are. Self-love looks like accepting all of who you are. 2, self-love looks like feeling into your personal value. I kind of have these all memorized now, but I want to make sure I still say them in order. Feeling into your personal value. 3, self-love looks like prioritizing and acting on your needs first. That whole concept about putting on your own oxygen mask first, and then you can go and serve and help everybody else. 4, self-love looks like knowing and honoring your boundaries. So much within that. 5, self-love looks like speaking kindly to yourself. You and that relationship you have with yourself. What are you telling yourself? 6, self-love looks like standing up for yourself. And today, 7, self-love looks like speaking your truth. And so, to me, in my mind, these all really start to blend into one another, and really, the previous one gets built on by the next one. And these last three, speaking kindly to yourself, standing up for yourself, and speaking your truth, really, there's a lot of crossover in that, I see. But I want to just emphasize that each one of these is worthy of their own, their own space, because speaking kindly to yourself is not necessarily the same as speaking your truth. Speaking kindly to yourself is really a one-way inner dialogue, right? Conversation that you have with yourself. And speaking your truth is more so of an outward expression of what's true for you. And so speaking your truth on the surface might sound so easy, especially if it's not something that has been a challenge for you, right? Might sound so easy. When you think or feel something, you can express it, right? Some people do it so confidently and without hesitation. Some people have to work their way up to speaking their truth. And you might be a combination of both, right? Maybe you find in some areas of your life it's easy and, no issue for you. Maybe some other areas of your life you really have to work your way into being able to do that. Does everything you think and feel need to be said and expressed? Does it? That's a question for you to ask yourself. I'll say that no, not necessarily. I don't think necessarily. That's not. I'll just at least say that's not what this conversation's about. It's not saying that every single thing you think and feel and believe has to be voiced. That's not what we're saying. But how do you know when to speak your truth and when it's okay to let something go and not feed into it? There's a quote here I want to share first before we dive a little deeper into all this, because this particular point about self-love and being able to honor yourself in this way through speaking your truth can go so many different directions. So I just also want to acknowledge that, I'm a big fan of context matters, really, and so if you are looking for deeper clarity on how to apply this to your life, again, I have much more to say still, but if you're looking for a way to gain even deeper clarity on what this means for you, journaling is really helpful, but also definitely reach out to someone who can help you sort out your own thoughts and help you gain clarity on, how speaking your truth can really, truly benefit and serve you. So I just want to emphasize how helpful that can be. But here's a quote I want to share with you first. And it's a little bit long, but it's a quote from Barbara DeAngelis. And it starts out, living with integrity, keyword, living with integrity means not settling for less than what you know you deserve in your relationships, asking for what you want and need from others, speaking your truth even though it might create conflict or tension, behaving in ways that are in harmony with your personal values, making choices based on what you believe and not what others believe. So there's a lot rolled up into that, but I just thought that it was very important to acknowledge this, because speaking your truth, it kind of has tentacles that lead, flows into different areas of your life. And living with integrity is really a key part of all of this. One way to think about speaking your truth is simply allowing your voice to be part of the conversation. Allowing your voice to be part of the conversation. And going back to that integrity piece, it's also very much about intention. What is your intention in speaking your truth? This is not about you speaking your truth to try and diminish someone else and their truth. That's not what this is. This is simply about you allowing yourself to be seen and heard in a way that is healthiest for you. So just within that, definition or way to examine what speaking your truth means, there's a lot that can be unpacked there, right? Like allowing yourself to be seen and heard, right? Because when you speak your truth, now there's something else for others to observe, right? Seen and heard, and in ways that are healthiest for you. So then that really begs the question, what is healthy for you, right? Are there ways that you could speak your truth that actually would be detrimental to you? And are there ways that would be healthy for you? So what's going to be healthy for you? In what way have you been stifling your own voice? What does that mean for you? So tons of exploration here really with this topic. And so let's look at what are a couple of things, reasons why you wouldn't speak your truth. There are many, but let's just highlight a couple of them. Maybe you don't speak your truth because you have this people pleasing thing going on about you. And maybe you fear upsetting someone else. Another reason why you might not speak your truth kind of goes along with that, but maybe you have a fear of conflict, right? Knowing that if you say something that might be contradictory to other people, that maybe it's going to generate conflict that doesn't exist when you are silent. And so, again, these are all things to factor in. Yeah, you might speak up and say something that generates conflict. Now, what's your intention behind it? What's your intention behind it? Is your intention to say something because it's really going to be healthy? Healthy for you? It's allowing you to be in integrity with yourself and be in alignment? Are you speaking from a healthy place? Or are you speaking from a wounded place? Are you speaking from the truth of your soul? Or are you speaking from an ego space? Like all really, really good things to take a look at. Where are you speaking from? Speaking your truth doesn't require or imply others will be on board with you and in agreement with you. I mean, right? You already know that, because if you haven't been speaking your truth, you know that, yeah, there's a chance that others are going to just be flat out, woo, whoa, okay, I don't agree with that person, and maybe they voice that and maybe they don't. Speaking your truth doesn't mean anyone else has to do anything differently. And yet they may, once they know where you stand. So if they value you, so let's think about a situation where, you're in any relationship where you two are fond of each other for some reason, right? So I'm not talking about someone you don't like. I'm not talking about someone that's simply just an acquaintance. But let's say someone that you love, that you really like, can be, romantic partnership. Maybe it's a work relationship. Maybe it's a really close friend, relative, something of that sort. If they value you, speaking your truth does provide another person the opportunity to consider you in their decision making. Keeping in mind, though, that person still needs to be true to themselves, right? So, but when they know where you stand, there is a greater chance for you two to be in harmony with each other within the relationship. So there is that added benefit. But at the same time, remembering what's true for you does not have to be true for someone else. And you choosing to speak your truth doesn't require anybody else to actually be in alignment with that, agree with it whatsoever. So let's talk about, what does it feel like to speak your truth? Well, I think the obvious is, especially if you've been holding back for some reason, is it can feel freaking scary. It can literally feel in your body shaky. You might actually get lightheaded. You might feel like your body's, especially if you're working your way up to it and you're not used to it, you could be just feel like you're getting welled up with all this self-doubt. And that's why it's incredibly helpful to get in alignment with your message ahead of time. What is it that you're wanting to say? Get to a space where you feel really good and solid in that, so that you're actually embodying more of your message with certainty, which is going to allow it to flow out of your mouth and into other people's ears with so much more fluidity. And again, still doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to agree or like what you have to say whatsoever. However, it's one thing to speak your truth and be like freaking out inside. Knowing that this is true for you, your message is true, and yet you're freaking out inside, versus speaking your truth and you're totally good and solid and calm with what you have to say. So this is one thing that, with my interview coaching clients, I really encourage them to, when you're preparing, I mean, this applies for everything, but when you're preparing to say something, um, especially for something that's an interview that's, planned ahead of time or you have time to prepare, if you're, not used to saying what you're about to say, practice it. And you're not just practicing it in your head. You literally want to practice it out loud. Start saying those words out loud. It helps your body even just to develop a form of muscle memory so that it's easier for those words and the combination of words, all of it, to start to flow out of you a little more fluidly. It makes a difference. It makes a difference in how your message is received. It makes a difference in how the tone of your message is delivered, right? Because you could be saying something that's totally true and it's in alignment with your truth. But if you've got all this other self-doubt or unshakingness within you for different other reasons, that may be the only thing that people actually pick up on, right? So people may be inclined to not actually hear what you're saying because all they're hearing is all that all that self-doubt and all that fear and all that stuff that's like coming along with it. Right? And so sure, there's some truth to that energy for sure, especially people who are really well versed in reading energy and hearing energy and sensing energy. Absolutely. But remember, if your intention is to speak your truth, you want your message to be heard as clearly and as powerfully as possible. And so is all that fear and self-doubt getting in the way of your message being able to be heard? There are plenty of things you can do to get to a space where you feel you can release that self-doubt. You can start to clear some of that stuff out before you ever speak. Now, yes, absolutely. You can do all that work and then still be in a space where you're feeling some anxiety by the time you actually share your message. You do as much as you can ahead of time. That's the value in preparation. Do as much as you can ahead of time, right? We're not necessarily saying that you're going to do all this work and then, you're going to completely eradicate all of the fear and anxiety. You might. That's fantastic, especially if you can get to that place, but you might not. You might get to a space where it's time to speak your truth and do that thing where you act anyway. You choose to be courageous. You choose to be brave and act in the face of fear or anxiety and still voice your message. You prepare because it's going to serve you. It's going to serve you better in feeling better in your body, both before and during and after you say your message. And also because it helps you to be heard more by others. So I wanted to say that. Let's also talk about, how else can speaking your truth feel? Because it's not just, the fear and feeling shaky and lightheaded. That's when you've got a lot of, a lot of anxiety and fear, within you that hasn't been released, hasn't been processed through yet. But now let's talk about when you have released some of that stuff. Speaking your truth can also feel incredibly liberating, incredibly powerful. It can feel, exciting. It can feel like a form of release. Now, again, a form of release that is healthy for you, right? This is not about popping off. This is not about just like popping off and this is my truth, so I'm going to say whatever. There may be times for that. That also can be helpful. So healthy. This is why like context matters. Okay. So, absolutely, the more in alignment you get with your truth and allowing yourself to flow through, right? Like you can start to get in alignment with who you are and knowing what you think and feel about yourself and embodying, your energy, knowing how amazing you are and how loved you are, and not be speaking your truth, which is going to kind of create sort of a blockage for you in being able to express yourself and being able to speak your truth. But especially the more work you start doing on just getting in alignment with who you are and your purpose and the life that you want to live and all of that kind of stuff, you're getting more flow within you. And at some point, there's going to be this kind of inclination to want to voice some of that. on some level to someone somewhere, okay, based on whatever you do, whatever's going on in your life. Um, and so the more that you do speak your truth, it will actually start to get easier. And I talked a little bit about this in one of the previous weeks. I don't recall which one now. Um, yeah, I'm not sure which one it was at this point. But the more that you speak, that you get in the habit of speaking your truth in a healthy way, the easier it is going to become. It's like, it's building a muscle with that. So honoring yourself in that way, right? No one else can speak your truth for you but you. What a beautiful gift you can give yourself. You have this voice. Um, okay, so first thing that's coming to mind is, let's say someone actually doesn't have use of their voice. Okay. What would speaking your truth look like for them? It might look like writing something down. It might look like, all the myriad of different ways that there are to communicate what's going on inside of you. Okay. Just had to acknowledge that. But for everyone who literally does have a voice that they can utilize and speak, you have this voice. And so it's like you do yourself a disservice when you don't actually use it, especially in the ways that are most meaningful for you. And so it may require you to, start to get clear on, like, what is it that, that you're not saying? What is it that you're not allowing to be expressed, right? Maybe you think that you've been expressed, but really you discover, oh my gosh, it's all just been going on up in here. And you haven't actually been speaking your truth. I realized that about myself a few years ago, and I was like, "Oh, that was so bizarre." Right? So maybe you have that same situation too. And so, okay, what else I want to say here? Yeah, we already acknowledged that your truth may include, something that doesn't ring true for someone else, or that someone else may refuse to acknowledge, right? They may refuse to hear you, to listen to you. That's fine. That's fine. It's not their truth. It's yours. Remember, other people get to choose what they do and say what's true for them. This is about you being in alignment with yourself. In what way are you not fully in alignment because you're not speaking what you need to say? Okay. Yeah, and we already kind of touched on, where are you stuck at the throat chakra and not allowing your energy to continue to flow on through? So again, this is, and we already talked about, it comes through the spoken word, it can come through writing, and it can come through conversations with people. Again, remembering you speaking your truth really is for you. And yet it can have this beautiful ripple effect. Because when one person does something new, it really has the ability to empower someone else to do the same for themselves. So, not that you speak your truth to necessarily empower someone else, but what an awesome bonus, right? It really is. So, okay, this conversation can really just continue on. But I'm going to go ahead and close that portion of today's video there. Please let me know what you're taking away. What comes up for you when you think about speaking your truth? This isn't necessarily about, you know, I know for a lot of people, the phrase speaking your truth can elicit thoughts of what is factual, what is truth, right? That's not necessarily what I'm saying, although there can be a combination, right? The first thing that comes up for me is, let's say that knock on wood, God forbid, but let's say someone has been attacked in some form, right? And you've got the attacker. You've got the attacker who has been in the space of not acknowledging what they did to someone else, right? And maybe they have done something to silence someone else. And this person has also silenced themselves by not speaking up. And then they choose to finally speak their truth, right? And the event actually took place, and this person can continue to deny it, refuse it, whatever. This person, though, is having this form of rebirth because they're finally allowing themselves to no longer stay in the dark and stay hidden and choose to speak their truth in whatever way, right? Maybe it's simply telling a trusted friend or family member. Maybe it's about journaling about what happened. Maybe it's about finally going to the authorities. I was attacked, and I have to honor myself by acknowledging, this was wrong. Okay, this was like going really deep. I didn't mean to really go that deep, but I was trying to use a scenario like that, which so many of us have heard about, right? You've got someone who was attacked. They finally come out after maybe a whole long time of being silent. And okay, so there's something like that, right? Let's just also say though, there's something that maybe doesn't involve necessarily anyone else. And there's just simply a person who has not allowed themselves to be seen and heard. And maybe that's because they learned that somewhere in their childhood, and they've just continued to carry forth with that in their adult life. And now it's no longer time to be living from that space of, it's not okay to be seen and heard. You actually get to liberate yourself, give yourself permission and say, it's time for me. It's time for me to say my truth and express yourself in whatever way is true for you, and which doesn't necessarily mean anything about facts in the world, but it's more so about you expressing yourself in the way that is in alignment and true for your soul. So just 2 examples there I wanted to share. So I am going to go ahead and put my notes down. So we're going to officially now conclude the discussion portion of this video, but now let's get into pulling some cards and see what added messages want to come through for today's message of self-love looks like speaking your truth. So I actually pulled out a lot of different decks today. You may think that I've pulled out lots of decks in other videos. I pulled out even more today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we get to them all. Let's start off with a self-love card. Let's just see what message wants to come through for everybody who views today's video. Okay, hold on. Let me just make a little bit of space here for cards. Okay. What message wants to come through for everybody who views today's video? And again, let me know what you're taking away from these videos. What thoughts have been coming up for you? How is this helping you to gain clarity? Okay, so here's the thing. I was getting the message that I should pull one of these at the very end. So I'm going to do that. That is coming through for me. So we're going to pull one of those at the end. We're going to move on to a self-care card. Self-care. So my take on self-care is amazing and absolutely necessary. And self-love to me is so much more than any one self-care practice. And that's also what these conversations are about. Okay, I feel like this one's wanting to come out. Let's see what else wants to come out from this deck. What message wants to be shared with everybody who views today's video? Whoa, okay. I love when they all start to come out. So let's see here. We got 4. The very first one that came out is peace. Embrace your confusion. Embrace your confusion. Let there be peace in not knowing all the answers. Okay, I'm going to continue on. That is awesome. So, second one is gratitude. Say thank you. Experience the joy of acknowledging others. I love this. Okay, we've got time. Schedule a sacred date with yourself. You deserve time for your life. Yes, absolutely. And then this one, I think this one fell on my foot, and I caught it. So this one is dreams. Think big. There are unseen forces ready to support your dreams. Okay, so before you even get to another deck, hello, are you seeing the synchronicity here? It's okay if you're not. I'm gonna talk about it. Embrace your confusion. So this was about peace, right? So maybe you're in the space of, I want to speak my truth. I'm ready to speak my truth. I'm ready to allow myself to be heard more, to be seen more. Maybe this is simply about, maybe at work you're wanting to talk to your boss about an idea you have, or maybe you're wanting to ask for a raise, or assert some conversation that might feel a little scary. You may not have peace with it, but what if you embraced the confusion? Let there be peace in not knowing all the answers. So, what I would say is you still want to prepare for that conversation, right? Prepare for it as best as you can. And yet, there still may be answers you will not have until you take the action. You take the action to initiate that conversation, to schedule a time to meet with your boss. And through that, you will, you're gonna gain peace. Might still be kind of like, right? A little rattling, a little shaky, a little scary to initiate and have that conversation. And yet, when you choose to speak your truth, it's like all those feelings of fear and self-doubt and all the nerves and anxiety, all that kind of stuff is more likely to come before. And then the feeling of liberation and release and peace and freedom and all that comes after. It's like when you finally let it out, right? You finally initiate that conversation with your boss, and now you can step into a space of peace and gain the answers that you didn't have before, right? Choose to act in the face of fear, because otherwise, let's say you just say, I don't know how he's going to respond, and so I'm just going to continue to never say anything. What is that going to continue to do to you? Eat you up inside, right? So, and the other person may act just like you thought they would. Oh my gosh, they're going to be angry, pissed off, or reject me, right? Reject me on some level. But now you know. Now you know for sure, right? Rather than questioning and doubting, it's a form of you being able to move forward. If there's something you absolutely have to say, if the form that's healthiest for you is actually saying it, you open up the door for possibilities. And even if the outcome is not what you would have ideally hoped for, now you at least know, and you can start to move in a different direction or take a second step, right? It's like now something can shift because you actually chose to use your voice. You chose to speak your truth in some form. Okay. Okay, so gratitude, experience the joy of acknowledging others. To me, this is simply acknowledging yourself. Acknowledging yourself. Sorry, maybe said that a little. Okay, let's see here. What's this one? You deserve time for your life. You deserve time for your truth. And this one, there are unseen forces ready to support your dreams. There are unseen forces ready to support your truth. And this is where we all have free will. And so the unseen forces can't really, they can do so much, but they can only do so much until you decide to take that next step and actually speak your truth in whatever form is healthiest for you. So, okay, so that was just one deck. That was a lot of cards. And I see we're already 35 minutes into this. I was feeling called to pull a card from this deck, ask your guides. So let's just see. Let's see what wants to come through here. Okay, before I pull a card from this deck, here's another thing that's wanting to come that I want to say is that speaking your truth, you may have something, and we've already touched on this, but I just want to acknowledge it because I don't know if you noticed, I was about to say something a few seconds ago, and then I stopped myself. And here's the thing, you get to choose what comes out of your mouth. The more you start to get in alignment with what your truth is and what messages you want to deliver, it's going to be easier to know, okay, let's voice this now. Let's not voice this, right? Again, this isn't about saying every single thing you literally think and feel. So there's a level of discernment that comes in with that. Anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that. Okay, so let's see what message. Did I already knock on the deck? Let's see what message wants to come through this deck. Okay. Oh, I love this. Leadership. Holy Spirit. When you speak your truth, it's a form of you leading yourself. And those unseen forces we were just talking about, this is also, see how those people are climbing up a ladder and they've got both, they've got a lantern helping to light the way, but also you've got the big dove, which is a symbol from the Bible, a symbol of spirit, a symbol of grace, even. That you may not know where you're going. You may not be able to see fully what's going to come next from you speaking your truth. But you've also got those unseen forces helping to lead and guide you. Coming out of the dark. Okay, that's what I'm getting. Okay, so I think that's excellent. I don't need to read what the book says on that card because that says it all right there. It's time for a self-love card now. So let's pull a self-love card. Okay. Okay, this is funny. This is excellent. Okay, so these same exact cards came out, even though you saw I was shuffling, or you heard me shuffling, right? These same exact cards came out the other day when I was with a coaching client. And I had a sense that I think these cards also want to be shared with other people. And so here they are again to show themselves. So the first one is, I freely express who I am. How is that? How is that for you? The back of it says, it is my birthright to express myself in ways that are fulfilling to me. In ways that are fulfilling to me. So that's all about getting really clear. What is truthfully going to be fulfilling for you? We're not just talking about, simple on the surface, this feels good and I'm just going to go ahead and release and spout off. There's really a case for going deeper. Why is that going to be fulfilling for you? What are you going to gain by sharing that message? And really just expand it out and see. I just simply share that because it can be easy to simply look at the surface of, this feels good, I want to do it, so I'm just going to do it. And there may be a place and time for that. But it can also be helpful to explore your further motivations, right, for doing something. So this is so good. It says, I use my words and thoughts as tools to shape my future. The back says, life is very simple. I create my experiences by thinking and feeling patterns. I create my experiences by my thinking and feeling patterns. What I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me. So this is also speaking to why you would want to explore further. What I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me, right? So you may think this is my truth, And if as you explore it further, you may go, oh, wait a second, that's built off of a belief that, wait a second, that why do I believe that? Why do I think that? That's not really true, right? And so you want to just further explore, well, what's really at the core of your truth. So I create my experiences by my thinking and feeling patterns. Absolutely. This is just like kind of showing that ebb and flow effect, right? What you think and feel. This goes so deep. Okay, anyway, I use my words and thoughts as tools to shape my future. Yes. And this last one, as I learn to love myself, I become powerful. Yes, you do. And I love that the sun is right there. That's kind of like my logo for the Every Day is a New Day show. The back says, I do not need to wait until I become perfect before I love myself. Excuse me. Loving myself is the quickest way to create a wonderful life. Yeah, absolutely. This is good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. If you're with me live, feel free to let me know that if you would like me to pull a card for you. And thank you for being with me live. Okay, what card wants to come through? I didn't even show you. So now we're going to pull a postcard from Spirit. Okay, what message wants to flow through for everybody who views today's message? What message wants to come through for everybody who views today's message? Today's video. Okay, but it's too many. These are long, so let's see. Let's get one. Here we go. Okay, so the front of it or the back of it, I guess you could say, at the bottom it says with love, and it says, check in occasionally with yourself about, oh, this is so good. Okay, check in occasionally with yourself about your motives behind actions you plan on taking, especially when you have an end game in mind. Is the source of your motivation desire or entitlement? Maybe you're drawn to a certain path because you think it will bring you a feeling related to the outcome you seek, like safety or wholeness. Know that you will see a reflection in the outer world of the motive that drives you forward. Do you need a motive? Can you simply be pulled in the direction your soul calls you? Toward joy, discovery, growth, or adventure? Participating in something compelling and meaningful without trying to define it? If you can step forward, surrendered to whatever Spirit has in store for you, you will be amazed at how things turn out. Check your motives, then hand them over to Spirit. Everybody here wants the best for you. Life loves you more than you know. So, yeah, so I don't need to explain this. This has definitely been speaking to that place where I've been talking about and let me just say, there are some of you who may be thinking, what? Like, my motives are pure. My intentions are pure. Awesome. Fantastic. For some others, though, it may be really healthy to explore, wait, why am I wanting to say or do this, this thing? So that's what that was speaking to. And we're going to go ahead and close out with Okay. I'm going to pull from a few more decks. We're going to pull from the Walking with Your Angels deck. Beautiful cards. Okay, what message wants to come through for everybody who views today's video? Let's just continue to expand on this topic and this conversation. These cards are beautiful and so slippery. What message wants to come through for everybody who views today's video? Okay, so I'm going to just pull one, actually. What do we have? Archangel Raphael. I am Archangel Raphael. I am here to support the healing of your physical and emotional being. When you have need of healing in any area of your life, you need only call my name and ask for support. I am here for you now and always. So if you've had the experience of literally feeling wounded and had the experience of feeling silenced in your life, remember you have support. God, universe, angels, whatever term you want to use. To me, they're all part of the same energy. Ask for support. Ask for the healing to help heal that place within you that has been so saddened by experiencing others who refused to hear you, refused to support you in speaking your truth and speaking up, right? That's another thing you would want to do, is that if you have that deep wounding, is to heal yourself as much as you can, so that when you speak your truth, you're speaking from a space that is as pure as possible. So that is that message. We're going to close out with one of Dr. Wayne Dyer's Inner Peace cards, and then Louise Hay's Power Thought cards. So let's say, what message, Dr. Wayne Dyer, what message do you have for everybody who views today's video? Oh, okay, I think this one. Yeah. I choose the path of kindness. The more you extend kindness to yourself, the more it will become your automatic response to others. I choose the path of kindness. Let's see if there's another one that wants to come out of here. I don't know that that's, let's see. Is there another message from this deck that wants to, oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, I love this. I don't think I've gotten this card before. Okay. It says, I am a miracle worker. The back says, be consistently aware of the need to serve God and serve others in any and all of your actions. That is the way of the miracle worker. Okay, so I'll expand on this for sure. So this to me is speaking about the pure intention thing, about getting clear on what it is that wants to be expressed, and also being clear on why. Why is it wanting to be expressed? And how can you speak from that space of purity, right? That's speaking from that space of love and kindness to yourself and expressing that outwards. And that knowing that when you're in that space, it says that is the way of the miracle worker. That, to me, that's simply saying you are most in alignment with the truth of who you are. And when you're in alignment with yourself, I mean, oh my goodness, you radiate and you shine differently, brighter. And the universe is able to support you more, and miracles, things that seem like miracles, can begin to happen. So beautiful. Okay, we're going to finally officially close out with a Power Thought card. Let's see what message wants to come through for everybody who views today's video. And let me also acknowledge, oh, hello. We got this card last week. I'm going to continue to see what other cards want to come out. Okay, there we go. If this conversation about self-love and speaking your truth and the other principles that I mentioned from previous weeks, if gaining clarity on what self-love looks like, it feels like for you, I just want to point out and acknowledge that I do have a new self-love, clarity, and connection process that I can walk you through and really help you to get clear on what, on how, to what degree are you loving yourself? And how can you improve that and gain clarity on what that even looks like for you? And so if you would like that, then right now you can actually have an opportunity to have a free self-love, clarity, and connection process by look down in the description box of this video, and there is a free online summit going on right now. It's called the Abundant Soul Traveler, and my interview is actually coming out Thursday, March 12th, 2020. And when you watch my video, listen for the coupon code, and I'm offering a limited quantity of free self-love, clarity, and connection sessions. And so there really are limited quantity. And so if you want to be one of those people that gets that, then you register for the summit today, and then listen for my interview on the 12th, and be sure to watch the interview and then use the coupon code and schedule your free self-love, clarity, and connection session. After the limited quantity of those are, all booked up, you can still get one of those sessions, but it's no longer going to be free. So just be aware of that. And it's not currently advertised on my website even. So just want to let you know, if that's something that speaks to you, then now's your chance to really gain access to that for free. Okay, we've actually pulled plenty of cards from this deck already. Let's take a look and see what they are. So the first one that came out, which is one that came out last week, is I am willing to change. Let's see what else we got. We got a few others that all just came out at the same time. It says, I now go beyond other people's fears and limitations. Everything I touch is a success. How about everything you speak is a success? And lastly, I turn every experience into an opportunity. I turn every experience into an opportunity. An aligned, pure intention opportunity. Beautiful. So let me know how this has resonated with you, what you're taking away from today's conversation, what clarity this has brought to you, what new, insights about what self-love means and looks like for you, have shown up in the course of this video. And definitely reach out to me if you'd like to connect further and see how I can support you in gaining more clarity about self-love, or even just deepening your own sense of inner confidence. So much is rolled up into that, about getting clear on who you are, getting to that place where you can heal and release the past and feel comfortable and confident and courageous in moving forward, taking those next steps, and so much more. So thank you for being here. And I hope you know that you are amazing. If you're here, meaning, alive in the world, then you have every right to be in alignment, to speak your truth, to stand up for yourself. It serves you to accept who you are and what you think and feel. It serves you to allow yourself to heal, serves you to love yourself. The more you love yourself, you're going to have a more enjoyable life experience. So I could go on and on. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day. And if you enjoyed today's video, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. There should be, I think, also a notification bell that if you like these videos especially, you can click on the notification bell and be notified of the next one. And connect with me over on Facebook and all of that. All of these links are here somewhere on YouTube. But thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week for number 8. Self-love looks like. Okay,